Chairman Barrasso, Chairman Kramer, Ranking Member Carper. I'm Todd Fornstrom, President of the Wyoming Farm Bureau. I farm on a farm outside of Pine Bluffs, Wyoming, with my father and two brothers and our families. We maintain a diversified farm that produces corn, wheat, alfalfa, dry beans, as well as a cattle and a sheep feedlot. Our area is unique. We set at 5,000 feet, and we get between 12 and 14 inches of rain, so it's arid. It's basically a desert, but we use groundwater. My wife and I, Laura, have 4 kids, a set of twins that are going to be seniors in high school. We have a senior in college, going to be out in the world next year. And like Chairman Barrasso mentioned, I have a son at West Point. I also am a member of the American Farm Bureau Board of Directors. I appreciate the opportunity to appear before this committee on behalf of the Wyoming Farm Bureau and the American Farm Bureau, and also would like to thank the committee members for their important role their important role this committee plays in protecting the nation's water resources and its critical infrastructure. On a personal level, I'm deeply protective of this water that we talk about. I've raised my children and my families, my brother's families, on a well that we farm around every day. So it's not something we take lightly where we come from. The Farm Bureau cannot overstate the importance of a clear rule that farmers and ranchers can understand without needing armies of consultants and lawyers. We believe the proposed rule is an important step bringing the WOTUS definition back in line with what Congress intended to be the scope of the federal jurisdiction under the Clean Water Act. The proposed rule gives meaning to the word navigable and recognizes that the essential policy underpinning the Clean Water Act is to preserve the state's traditional and primary authority over land and water use. Congress also intended for the federal government to work hand in hand with states, which is why the Act deals with illegal dumping and water pollution in a bunch of different ways that do not rely on treating every wet spot in the landscape as waters of the U.S. The proposal would not weaken the many existing federal, state, and local laws that protect our resources and wildlife, nor does it limit the ability of the state and local entities to protect the sources of drinking water. I want to draw your attention to one protection in particular. Within our state of Wyoming, my operation with its 2 feedlots is required to get a permit that is administered by the state. This permit requires me to require us to make structural changes to our operation, somewhere in the range of $350,000. It was expensive, and it was not anything that we do on normal farming days. As part of the program, the state has conducted yearly random inspections on our farm. They're doing a good job. Wyoming's ability to effectively and thoroughly protect water resources within the state through its own regulatory regime is exactly what Congress intended to preserve through the Clean Water Act, and nothing in the new proposal rule changes that. Many people have spoken out against the rule, have gone out of their way to mischaracterize the scope and impact that's proposed by this rule. In reality, this proposal provides much needed clarity in definition and throughout the whole. It also maintains protections for clean water while preserving state's traditional authority over the local land and water use. And finally, it reflects legal and policy decisions informed by science. But there are still a few things that we could improve on. We feel that there could be more clarity in key terms that are relevant to the several jurisdictional categories of water, such as intermittent. We also feel that this agency should eliminate ditches as a standalone category of jurisdictional waters. And finally, the agencies could make it more clear in the definition of wetlands that a wetland must satisfy all 3 of the Corps' delineation criteria. I appreciate the opportunity to provide this testimony and look forward to your questions. And remember, the goal of everybody in this room is clean water and clear rules. Thank you.